And we're live. Welcome, everybody, to Adera Live. I have my dear friend Annette Sharpe on the line today, and we are talking about sacred gifts and how to find them. Annette has been a business coach for over 15 years with Growing for Success, and she's also a sacred gift guide. Welcome, Annette, to the program.
I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk with you. I mean, we talk all the time, so now just people get to see what we're talking about.
Awesome. Yeah, it's one thing when we're behind the scenes and another thing when we actually get out there, right? And tell people what we're talking about.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about what a sacred gift is and this on-purpose formula that you are a guide in.
Okay, awesome. I think that there's this understanding that we all have gifts, or we have a genius zone. And there are a lot of people out there talking about, you know, in order to find your purpose, you need to use your gifts. In order to feel good, you need to use your gifts. And there's so many people talking about go out there and share your gifts with the world. And I agree fully with that. But there are very few people who can actually help you identify what your gifts are. Right? So for some people who are lacking clarity, or who are feeling maybe a little stuck, or they're stuck in choice even, or they're growing their business and something's plateaued, they need to get back in touch with their gifts and let other people shine in theirs. And there is a process to discovering your gifts. There's many ways that you can discover your gifts, whether it's a workshop or a self-study course or a group program or one-on-one. And there are many guides actually who are certified. There are 61 guides around the world who help people figure out which gifts you have. You have more than one. You don't have all 24, but you do have a combination of gifts that are yours, and they're yours to help you feel on purpose in your life.
Mm-hmm. So can I explain a little bit about that formula? Because I thought it was really cool when you talked about it. Our last retreat here at Necklace, was that once you find out what your sacred gifts are, and you find a way that it benefits another person or being, and you find a great vehicle to bring it to them with, whether it's like me or all the vehicles that's out there, marketing, what are other vehicles, Annette?
So you could have a vehicle, could be a job, it could be a volunteer position, it could be a business, it could be a podcast, it could be a board of directors. It could be all sorts of ways that you bring your gifts into the world. And there's one other piece to that feel on purpose formula. And that is whatever you're applying your gifts to has to have meaning to you, not to everyone else in your life, but there has to be direct meaning for you to feel on purpose in your life.
Great. And so when all of those are play together, you will feel on purpose.
Yeah. And I think that's the distinction, Adera, is that there are so many people out there searching for their purpose, right? And they don't want to get started in something. They don't want to get started in a business or really put themselves out there or feel lit up. Let's say they don't feel lit up because they are waiting for their purpose to kind of drop in their lap. And until I know what my purpose is, I can't really go out there and make a difference. And I like to tell people that whole idea is just completely false. You can live in your purpose right now, and you can feel on purpose in your life right now. Just knowing that feel on purpose formula, applying your gifts to something that has meaning to you, knowing who you're benefiting, who is benefiting. And if you don't know who you want to benefit, ask if it's a person, an animal, or the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So who's benefiting, and what vehicle are you utilizing? Because if you're using your gifts, but you're in a vehicle that doesn't match with the human part of you,
right,
then you're not going to necessarily feel on purpose. You might feel stuck, or you might feel challenged. So that's another piece, is identifying, and I know you're really into the spiritual stuff, but identifying your humanness, what makes you you, you know, what are your personality traits, the parts that make you a human being on this planet, your beliefs, your thoughts, all that, the way we identify ourselves. But more importantly, the sacred gifts reside in our beingness. They don't have anything to do with the human part of us, but we still need to express them in a way that isn't incongruent with who we are. It's a little complicated.
No, it's good. So for instance, I'm just going to get to James's question here, but basically the vehicle now for me is through video coaching, retreats, and speaking, right? Yes. But he had said here, you know, in a few years, do you have to revisit what that vehicle is, or do you revisit even, I don't know if he meant to, as your sacred gifts, do they change? But I would say in regards to the vehicle, yes, that does change, because the more confidence you get and the more you start doing more and experiencing more things, you realize, oh my gosh, I get so lit up when I'm teaching retreats or I'm coaching people one-on-one, where before you'd never done that, so you didn't know exactly how that was going to make you feel?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And actually, it's a good reminder that we can feel on purpose doing different things in our life right now. It isn't even a timing thing in terms of, this is this year, 2018, and we're talking about 2022, let's say. Mm-hmm. Your sacred gifts can go dormant, but you are born with your sacred gifts. So your sacred gifts do not change. Your sacred gifts do not adjust over time. You don't learn your sacred gifts. You are born with them. However, if you're born into a society where maybe some of your sacred gifts aren't honored or they're not cherished, we can, in our humanness, suppress them and have them go dormant. So, but in terms of the vehicle, yes, of course, feeling on purpose, your vehicle can change over time. You can feel very on purpose in a corporate job, doing something that you love, and then one day think, you know what, I'm ready to launch. I'm ready to do something else. And then you apply your gifts to something else, or maybe the same thing that has meaning to you. You know who you're benefiting, and just the vehicle has changed, and you'll feel on purpose then. So I think that's why we don't really have one career path. We don't really have one thing that we do in our lives. We have many things that we do and many ways that we can feel on purpose. But if one of those elements of the feel on purpose formula is out of alignment, that's when we feel maybe discontent. We might feel a little stuck. We might feel like we've plateaued and there's nowhere else to go. And we have to revisit that. But your gifts don't change.
But your gifts don't change. You're born with your gifts.
You're born with your gifts. They can go dormant, right? Depending on where they're needed in your life.
Yes. Very cool. Yeah. So when I did mine, I had 5 and I just loved them. And I totally thought it was really neat how they are explained and expressed, because a lot of times they'll be like, well, I'm really personable, so that must be sort of a gift. Or I'm really so for instance, I'm really great with people, that kind of thing. Right. But that wasn't really one of them. And so, but it is one of them. It's just worded a little differently. So
it might be your humanness too. It might be your personality as an extrovert. And then your sacred gifts are expressed through your personality of being an extrovert.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No.
Being good with people isn't necessarily a sacred gift, but it could be.
I see. Well, it kind of is touched in with the hospitality as one of mine, and the encouragement as one of mine, where I like to encourage other people and support them and really cheerlead them on in their own unique expression. And hospitality is obviously making people feel really comfortable and included in whatever I'm doing. So that was kind of cool, right? But I really think this is a really fun way to see what and how many. You said they don't just have one, but like, do people sometimes have 8 or 10? And then what do? Do they have to have all 10 working for them for it to feel like?
Not all at once.
Okay,
again, so it depends on the area of your life and what you're doing. But I wouldn't say there's a general number. What I do know is that we've never met anyone who only has one gift. If you only have one gift, you're probably rocking it out there in the world, and there'd be absolutely no question in your mind what your gift is. But most people have a combination of gifts, and most people utilize them in different ways. So let's use you as an example, and let's use your gift of hospitality. Okay. You're now using your gift of hospitality in your retreats, which is beautiful. It was something you weren't necessarily doing before, but now you're embracing, I have this gift of hospitality. And when people come to your retreats, they feel welcome. They feel safe. They feel like they're at home. They feel like they can just be themselves, right? So you're utilizing that sacred gift. And when you're in your gift, you feel like there's an energy, right? You feel like you're making a difference. You're getting feedback from people. People will walk into your space and they'll say something like, there's something about this space. I just feel really good here, right? When we came to your retreat, that's what everyone was saying. But you might not be utilizing that sacred gift of hospitality in a business. You could be using your sacred gift of hospitality just to have your friends and family over. Or maybe it would be to run a B&B. You can express that gift in so many different ways.
Yes,
right?
But I do love what you're saying, because it's a different feeling that I get when I say have my friends over for dinner or family over for dinner than it is if I'm hosting a retreat. Like that energy and oh man, it is epic. It is like I am totally in my zone, and I don't know, it's magic, right? And so that's
like all your gifts, they're like they're all going off, right? Yeah. They're being utilized.
Yeah. So that's very cool. Okay, so how do people find out their gifts? Tell us a little bit about that process.
Okay, well, there are a couple of different ways. Actually, I didn't mention this to you, but there is a live workshop coming up in October. I don't have the dates yet, but it's a 2-day live workshop. That's actually how I was initially introduced to the Sacred Gifts work. Yeah. It's a 2-day commitment. You get fully immersed. You learn all 24 sacred gifts. You walk away knowing what your gifts are and your plan for your life. If you don't want to do that, then you can work with one of the Sacred Gifts guides. So I am a Sacred Gifts guide. I take people through the program in 2 ways. I take them through it either one-on-one. So we go through the program one-on-one. You listen to the materials. We meet up and we answer questions and we work through it and we really figure out what your gifts are. Or we can do it as a group where we get 6 to 8 people all in one setting and we work together to help you figure out what your gifts are, and you have that co-learning and that interaction with other people along the way.
Lovely. Now, what's the difference between something like this and like any of those other like personality tests?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that question. Okay, so I love personality.
Half-assed question, but yeah, you got me. I couldn't even remember like the Briggs and Myers and
Myers-Briggs, Strengths Finder, the color personality test. Like, there's so many things out there. Okay, I love this question though. So the biggest difference, again, I think the way I like to think of it is picture a circle, okay? And this is your life, and this is the human part of you. And then inside that circle is a little circle. And in that circle is your beingness, your spirit, and your soul, okay? Your personality and all the personality tests help you make sense of your humanness. They help you make sense of who you are as a human, how you're going to interact with other people, how you're going to show up in a social setting, how you're going to feel when what kinds of careers might be good for you, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Your sacred gifts can be in direct contrast to your personality. Here's an example. You can have someone with special needs who has, say, a sacred gift of hospitality, who despite their physical or mental disability is able to make people feel so welcome in their presence. There's some really good examples of stuff like that online. Or you might have somebody who, I had a neighbor who was this crotchety old grumpy guy, but he had the sacred gift of service. And he would always pop over in our yard when we were building something, and he would just come in and help. Now, he didn't have the sacred gift of craftsmanship because it didn't always work out perfectly, and they might have had screw holes in the wrong place, but that didn't matter. He was in his sacred gift of service, helping, even though he was a grumpy kind of old guy. So the personality was grumpy guy. The gift was service. And if you can strip away the personality, if you can strip away the humanness and see the beauty of the sacred gifts in every single person, it just shifts your perspective when you're walking around. If you know, and this is true, if you know that every person on this planet has sacred gifts and you can see past their exterior persona, you can get to the beauty of who that person really is. And it's magical when that happens.
Mm-hmm. You know, and we don't take enough time, I don't think, too, to sit back and think about the times where we've been doing something and we're in this moment and we're either getting like really positive feedback, or people that are around us are like, holy, like, look at her, she's just come alive, or look at him, like, he's so talented at that, right? And think anything really of it except for like, oh, I guess we just felt really good when we were doing it and you got good feedback, but you don't think necessarily that that's maybe a gift that you, well, maybe it is the big, but it's, if I look back and I look at the 5 gifts that I have, it's not unsurprising. I mean, these were all the times that I felt so alive and so aligned, and people noticed me not noticed me in a way, but like, we're like, oh, she's come alive, like,
right.
Yeah.
And you get that feedback from people, and you just hit something beautiful on the head, is that we don't often see our sacred gifts, and we do take them for granted a little bit. But there's a reverence in your sacred gifts. You have these gifts for a purpose. They were not put in you by accident. And so it's your job to identify what those are and to really know yourself so that you can go and apply them to something that is meaningful to you. Because what's meaningful to you is also put into your mind for some reason, right? Mm-hmm. There's something of meaning to you that you can go and apply your gifts to make a difference. When you do that, you'll feel on purpose. And that's the whole difference between going out there and searching for a purpose and instead knowing who you are and applying that to feel on purpose.
I love it.
Does it feel different when I say it that way?
Yeah, of course. It's like coming from the inside out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a way. And that's basically, I know we have to wrap this up. We're over time.
What? Already?
And it's Dance Party Friday today. So, oh my gosh. Okay, we'll do a little
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Yeah, I think back on what my uniqueness has been, and I think it's my curiosity for life and just always being in question mode. Like, why are we doing things like this? And if we're not liking this, why are we still doing this? And like, we created all of this so we can uncreate it at any time and choose something different, right?
Yep.
Wakey.
I love that about you. Yeah.
Figure this out, right? And that got me in a lot of trouble when I was little, because I'd be questioning obviously authority and like the school system and the different things. But it's also left me with such a magnificent life, because I haven't ever stopped myself or stopped that curiosity about myself, right? And I sort of created what I do now out of it, and it's a constant growing thing that I'm expanding on all the time. And I think people stop themselves, so they have these moments where it's like really working for them in their life, or there's a moment that really feels amazing, and then they kind of forget about it. And then they just kind of go back to what they were doing before, and they don't take the time to really dive into, well, what was that exactly? And why did it make me feel so good? And what about me was really lit up there, right? Mm-hmm. And I think this work is such a beautiful way to really just sort of have a good understanding of what they were brought here with, and then figuring out what is important to them and apply it.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, your sacred gifts, there's a quote there, your sacred gifts are gifts that have been placed within you, that you have from birth until death, that help you to do ordinary things extraordinarily well. And so that's a beautiful way for you to embrace that they're ordinary things that we do, but you do them in an extraordinary way.
Gorgeous. I'm going to quote you on that. Okay, so here's the deal. Annette offers these programs. She'll do it either one-on-one, or you can do it in a group setting, or you can go to the live event, which sounded really cool as well. I would definitely DM her. I will definitely put her contact details below this video. And then I also wanted to offer a little fun time and say, hey, if you're interested in trying Light Up, which is my 7-week half-hour calls, a booklet. I have some people watching who are in it right now and might really enjoy it, to talk about it below. But if you want to try that out, I am going to offer this for free for you to work with Annette in a group setting and find your sacred gifts. So she usually charges, was it $200 for the group calls?
For the group, yeah, and usually there needs to be a minimum of 400 usually, but that's 400. 4 people. Sorry, not 400 people. That would be crazy. No.
Got it. So we're awesome at
$100 value.
This is the offer, is that if you want to try Light Up and you're brand new and you're thinking you'd like to give it a go, I can talk to you more about that. And then you will also get the Sacred Gift group program included, where you can find your sacred gifts with Annette and the rest of the 4 girls or guys that show up. I only do Light Up with women though, so I should include them. I mean, eventually we will, but I'm trying to niche down. Well, Annette, that was amazing.
Thank you. That was fun. And I really appreciate you inviting me to do this. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. And I just feel like everyone should know. Everyone should know. And everyone should post what they are, because then we can just know people on a way bigger, deeper level and support them as they use their gifts in the world. I think that would make everyone very happy.
Me too. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for helping to spread the message. So this is exciting. Let me know who signs up for Light Up. I would definitely recommend it. I've watched you just grow this thing, and you're doing a beautiful job with it. So it's a real huge bonus, I think, that you're offering people, to let them also take this program in at the same time. It's a beautiful thing. So this is exciting.
Okay, we're only going to offer it to 6 people. That's it.
Okay, 6
people are out, then the offer is over, because this video lives on. So just so you know.
That's true.
Okay, so we have here a couple things that were said. Oh, when did you get? Okay, geez, I don't know if I can read all this. We have to go, but please answer these. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And you'll find.
Can I answer questions online?
Yeah, I think you can just go into the comments later and
okay.
answer them. That would be awesome. Okay,
I'll do that.
Thanks everybody for watching. Happy Friday. Talk
Bye,
to you all
everybody.
soon.
Happy Friday.